Howdy, Coach. Welcome to the Zoom.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Got some questions for you. We'll start off with Mike Lucas from KAGS.
Hey, Coach, when you have a player like Savion who can pass as well as he does from the 3 or 4 position, how much does that do for your offense? And what is his ability to kind of operate the offense from the high post, allow you to do offensively and get other guys involved?
The first thing I would say, Mike, is it takes a lot of pressure off our other perimeter guys because Save is a perimeter guy, and we're running offense through him. And so a lot of what we're doing is there's a little bit of lipstick on the pig before we get the ball to him. And then once we get the ball to him, now he's the quarterback. And I think his assist to turnover ratio through 3 games obviously is superb. And I think as we continue to get more fluid with some of the action that we're doing, his reads become easier, more defined, and he's doing a really, really good job. And we need as many game reps as possible in him being able to be in that position, not so that he feels comfortable, because I think he feels really comfortable with what we're trying to accomplish in that regard. It's so that the other guys figure out their movements relative to his reads within that movement.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Alex Miller from the Brown College Station Eagle.
Hey, Coach, another big game off the bench for Emmanuel. You know, how big has he been for you guys, and where have you really seen his game elevate the last couple of games, even though when he's physically drained, he keeps going?
Yeah, he's fun to watch. His spirit is contagious as much as any player we've been around. Plays incredibly hard, understands the value of a possession, and never gives up on a possession on either end of the floor. The only thing that I thought he was a little out of whack with tonight, he and Q, those 2 guys with our turnover rate being as high as it is, those 2 guys can't have 10 of our 16 turnovers. They can have 2 or 3, but we need those 2 guys who are probably going to get a touch in some sort of way every possession. We've got to value those possessions a little bit more. I think E-Man's just going to keep going. I think he's continuing to get his body back where it was. That's why he didn't play in game 1. And it's just hard for us to take him off the floor because he impacts the game on both ends.
All right, let's go to Tyler Shaw from KBTX.
Coach, kind of going off of that on Emmanuel Miller, you know, with you said the spirit and kind of the energy he brings, would it be fair to compare what he's doing this year to kind of what Josh Nebo brought to the team last year?
Yeah, a little different. Just specific, Tyler, to the stats, I can't argue with what you said. Nebo continued to flourish as the season went on relative to when and where he was going to get his touches. And I think E-Man's versatility, we're utilizing a lot of it when we're small. But also I thought Marf and Aku, whereas the combination of the 2 was the best that they have been through 3 games. And so E-Man's versatility is different than Nebo, but relative to the contribution that he makes, very similar. I think that E-Man's versatility is so beneficial to us, not just offensively. He has that same versatility defensively. And so I think he has a very bright future, and I'm very encouraged with what he's been able to accomplish in week number 1 of his 2nd season.
And Coach, today's game, I mean, was getting off to a fast start kind of something you guys wanted to do, especially, I mean, you knew it was going to happen, but the way Wednesday went?
Yeah, you know, Tyler, on Wednesday, I just didn't think we played near as hard as we have to play. And so I thought our competitiveness and the spirit in which we fought was much better relative to Wednesday. I think it's encouraging that we're going back in the right direction, but in truth, we're going to have to build off of that. It wasn't good enough, and that's not me just being a coach, but we're going to have to play incredibly hard in order to have a chance. And we were much better in that category, but not consistent enough going forward, but much better than we were on Wednesday. I thought Coach's team was tougher than us and fought us harder on both ends every possession. And I thought tonight we were much better at fighting per possession, and we did get off to a better start, but we weren't quite as consistent in the second half in that category as we have to be.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Andrew Hattersley from Gig'em 247.
Coach, you mentioned Kevin Marfo earlier, 9 rebounds today. Do you feel like he's starting to get a little more comfortable and kind of finding where he's supposed to be? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think that his comfort level is improving in practice, which is what translates to the game. I thought Thursday was his best practice since he had been here. He was not as good on Friday as he was on Thursday, but obviously statistically and his comfort level today, without question, it was the best he had played through 3 games. We need to find some consistency with all of our group, and I understand we've only been in the season for 10 days, but we want to be a company, a stock individually or collectively that you would invest in. And so I think the only way that you find that is when there's consistency in your effort, consistency in your production. And so we need Aku and Marf to continue in the direction that they were in today, because I thought it was distinctly better than either of the previous 2 games.
Gotcha, thank you. And then I know Hasan, Diara, and Hayden Hefner got their starts today. What went into the thinking behind entering those 2 into the starting lineup?
Well, I don't think, Andrew, we're at the point where we found any consistency in knowing, like, this is the best group, this is who should start, this will who will help get us off to a better start. We're still trying to figure that out. Hasan did a good job in practice on Thursday and Friday, as did H. I didn't think necessarily that either one of them were great in the actual game, but you can't base what they do in the game on who starts and who doesn't start. You have to base that on a daily basis. And those 2 guys are going in the right direction. But again, whether it's Hayden, whether it's Hasan, we just need to find some consistency. Like, I thought Dre was dramatically better today than he was on Wednesday. I thought Aku and Marfo had their best 2 games thus far. E-Man, his 2 games playing at a very high level. Q was brilliant. Game 1, maybe one of his worst games on game 2, better today, yet had 5 turnovers. And so we've just got to get everybody kind of going in the same direction so that we can find some consistency. So I don't think it's one person or another, or who starts, or when we play small or when we play normal. We've just got to find some consistency no matter what the answer is to that particular question.
Gotcha. Thanks a lot.
All right, we got a couple more questions on the queue. We'll go to Chip Howard from Sports Talk and then Alex Miller.
Hey, Chip, are you in your bed?
I'd rather not answer that. I'm watching basketball, Coach.
Who's playing right now?
Kentucky just lost their 3rd in a row. They got driven by Georgia Tech by 20.
Is that right? And Georgia Tech was 0-2 after 2 guarantee games going into the game?
That's right. And
what else has happened in the sports world today?
LSU's up by about 20 at the half on La Tech. So there
Interesting.
you go.
Anything happening in the NFL?
Oh, there's always stuff happening, but I don't pay much attention to the NFL. You'll have to ask the NFL experts on the panel, Coach.
Maybe I should start a sport talk.
You've got like 5 days. You have 6 days before you play TCU. So how will you use this time in practice this week?
Yeah, interesting that you would ask that, Chip. I was maybe 4 to 5 minutes behind on going to talk to radio. What I had thought was the best way, we're still having conversations about. So I'll answer it. Saturday, obviously, is game day. That never changes other than the time on what we do. Friday is 1 day before prep. That never changes on what we do in the film room, in the weight room, or on the floor, other than the game time. And then Thursday is 2 days before, and that never changes unless academic supersedes it. So this is the first time this season where there's been a 3-day window. We know that one of them has to be completely off. And then we also know that we have to do whiteboard stats and game review from today's game. So we're still trying to figure out, is Wednesday going to be our off day or is Monday going to be our off day? Because on Tuesday, we are going to lift weights and practice. So we're trying to make a decision on how we're going to utilize Monday and Wednesday. And this will be the first rep we've had of that this year. And then I think the following week, we're going to have that same conundrum relative to that 3-day window. One of those days we work, one of those days will be off. And then one of those days we'll have to do game review / some level of skill work. So 2 day before prep never changes for us. 1 day before prep never changes. And the only thing that changes in 2 day and 1 day before is based on what time the game is. So game day is Saturday at 1, I believe. So that means shoot around will be at 6 Saturday morning. So that means that we'll start work in 1 day prep on Friday at 6. We're very rhythmic, almost NFL-like. That's actually where I learned it from, how we prepare for a game. But typically speaking, we always have 2 games in 1 week, not just one. So it'll be more NFL-type scheduling this week, and we just got to figure out how we're going to utilize Monday or Wednesday.
This is your first road. This is your first road trip. It's your first road trip with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
How different is this going to be? What kind of precautions are you taking? I mean, just how unusual in terms of what you would normally do a year ago? How different is it this time around?
Yeah, Chip, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I write a lot every day, so I get out all negative emotions, so I try not to say it publicly. But to answer your question, this is all unique. Everything we're doing is unique. Practicing is unique. Watching film spread out is unique. Rarely sharing a meal is unique. Not unique to Texas A&M, unique to what's happening in college athletics. Our administration has been elite. Justin Moore, Ross, our doctors, everybody involved in the task force specific to the virus, they have shielded us and helped us better understand all of the protocols and processes. And in a positive way, I think our kids have been phenomenal in the maturity and how they've handled it. We are going through different processes relative to 2 buses, relative to when are we going to go to the arena to shoot? Can we shoot? How are we going to access the hotel? When are we going to eat? How are we going to eat? Before a game, the day before, all of that is brand new. Luke Hillen on our staff has been very involved. Devin Johnson on our staff. Those guys kind of go back and forth relative to the itinerary. And then I touch it probably every 2 days, every 3 days, but without any further explanation or a longer diatribe, all that we're doing is unique. And it's not, just like doing this. I'm normally seeing you guys and I'm just sitting in a room looking at a computer. I'm not complaining. I'm grateful that we're even playing and I still have a job because I know that the virus has changed a lot of people's lives. So I'm thankful, but it's for sure unique. And there's a new category that everybody has to process through all of that.
Thanks.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Alex Miller from the Eagle.
Yeah, Coach, kind of going off Chip's couple questions, it's been kind of a fast start to the season for you guys, 3 games in a week. How nice is it going to be for y'all to have practice time this week to slow down and kind of learn before you go and play that big game against TCU?
Well, I can answer that in a succinct way, but I'll give you a little bit more. I think this, because of the uniqueness of everything that's going on, Alex, it's just human nature to try to skip steps because you feel behind and you feel like, okay, we got to hurry up and do this. And you get to step 4 and you realize that you really didn't handle step 2 appropriately. And so we kind of shrunk everything we did on Thursday and Friday in preparation. I guess I should say Friday and Saturday in preparation for this game, because there was too much confusion. Somebody not understanding, somebody couldn't do it, somebody forgot this, was unsure about this. And so we kind of narrowed our focus in what we watched, narrowed our focus in what we practiced. Even in our pregame, we just kind of narrowed everything. And similar to Chip's first question, like, I think that's the issue on how are we going to handle this week, because this week is the first week that we have the opportunity that you just mentioned. And so how can we stay kind of in a narrow lane and make sure that what we know, everybody completely understands what they can be held accountable to, while also balancing, well, it's the first road game and specific to what we're going through, that's going to be unique. Well, it's our first Power 5 game. Well, that's going to be specific to how we prepare. And so there's a lot of variables, and what we're trying to do is just make sure that as a staff, we're as narrow and as disciplined as we need to be, so that we're not overwhelming our guys. And then the backside of it is we get no execution.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we have for you, Coach.